All right, our top story that impacts you and me and everyone who is a taxpayer citizen of this country. Get ready to shell out more money from your pockets as new GST rates come into effect from today. A slew of items are going to get expensive, including several household items. Pre-packaged food items like curd, lassi, buttermilk, paneer and atta will now attract 5% GST. 18% GST will be levied on tetra packs. Finance Ministry has clarified that the revised tax rates will be applicable for packaged items less than 25 kg, thereby exempting traders and wholesalers. Tax rates on products such as knives, pencil sharpeners, LED lamps have also been hiked to 18% from 12% currently. Now, however, at 5% GST, rope-way transport and electric vehicles are set to get cheaper.
जो पैकेज फूड में और जो जीएसटी 5% लगाया है वो बहुत गवर्नमेंट ने गलती किया है। आम आदमी के लिए महंगाई बढ़ेगी और हर जेब के ऊपर इतना कर्जा बढ़ेगा।
बिकॉज आई थिंक इट इज नॉट राइट, पैकेज फूड पे लगाना नहीं चाहिए था जीएसटी, बिकॉज दीज आर ऑल थिंग्स वी कंज्यूम डेली, सो आई बिलीव इट should have been done because already the common man is in trouble because of the inflation and all, job losses and all. So I think that this is not right.
सर जीएसटी तो नहीं लगना चाहिए, फूड पे तो नहीं लगना चाहिए, या बिकॉज अगर फूड पे लगेगा तो कॉमन मैन क्या करेगा? दिस इज वेरी मतलब कॉमन मैन के लिए वो डिफिकल्ट है, वो चीज़ नहीं लगना चाहिए। जीएसटी तो नहीं लगना चाहिए, खाने की चीज़ें पे तो नहीं लगना चाहिए जीएसटी।
Now, among essential products and services, GST on hospital room rent has been hiked as well. Wherever the room rent is more than 5,000 rupees, a tax of 5% will be charged. However, ICU beds are exempt from this. This means that hospital bills for patients could increase. We spoke to a few people to assess their reaction, and we also spoke to a few health experts to understand how this impacts the cost of medical care in India.
So, right now, until now, GST on all medical services was exempt. The GST Council, in its wisdom, has decided to impose 5% on hospital beds in the 5,000 rupee plus category. The rationale behind that is the assumption that the 5,000 rupee category is something that maybe the middle class and the upper middle class will use, and it extends to private hospitals. But you know, a reality check needs to be taken in this context, because most Indians are dependent on the private healthcare system. The number of government hospital beds are just not enough, especially when you come out of the urban centers to the smaller towns and cities and villages. The dependence on private nursing homes, private hospitals just increases. On the other hand, how can we assume that 5,000 rupees cut off means this is only going to impact the middle class and the upper class or the rich? Should we be taxing this segment at all? And why the Indian Association is upset about this. They wrote a stinging letter over the weekend to the government saying that this is profiteering on the illness of others. Why they're upset is because this 5% does not get an input tax credit. And I'm just going to take 10 seconds to explain what that means. An input tax credit means that whatever it costs you to create that good or service, you can actually adjust that cost against the final tax you pay. That will not be available on this 5%, which is why it's probably going to pinch more. Now, there is just absolutely no doubt that this is going to be passed on to the final patient. When we are already a nation post 2 years of COVID-19 and a pandemic which is ongoing, frankly, we've seen so many families burdened by medical bills. Is it fair to plonk this 5% on patients, on the ill and their families right now, is the big question.
This GST burden will definitely not be absorbed by the hospitals, but is going to be transferred to the patients. And the worst part is that input credit also has been denied in this GST. So for the hospitals, there is no way other than putting the expense on the patients. Besides the healthcare, which they have put, is increase in the GST on biomedical waste. Please reconsider this and not bring healthcare under the ambit of GST.
And we are getting breaking inputs. This is the latest. India and China have issued a joint statement after the 16th Corps Commander talks. This is the latest, and the big takeaway is that no breakthrough on disengagement at Hot Springs Demchok and Depsang. This is the big update that we are breaking on Mirror now. No breakthrough on disengagement at Hot Springs Demchok at Depsang. This is the key takeaway. India and China have issued a joint statement. Remember, 16 Corps Commander level talks were held. However, both sides have agreed to maintain security and stability on ground. And shifting focus to another big story of the day. In the wake of a string of technical incidents involving various airlines, the civil aviation regulator, DGCA, has now laid down stricter rules for big airlines. DGCA has issued stricter norms for aircraft maintenance engineers. Now, DGCA's own findings reveal lacuna in aircraft maintenance engineering standards. This after Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia held a meeting with senior officials of his ministry and DGCA on Sunday over these incidents that have been reported for the past few weeks. The minister had sought a detailed report from the officials and had said that passenger safety cannot be compromised. Remember, earlier today, Jyotiraditya Scindia chaired a one-on-one meeting with the heads of airline companies and reviewed flight safety norms. Civil Aviation Minister issued instructions to each airline to take steps at all levels to enhance security surveillance.
Maintenance is necessary. We being humans, we need maintenance.
Well, I would like to travel by, airline which I will consider, safe for me. And if I hear about any airline, having problems, with the maintenance, I would try to avoid while traveling. Well, I think DGCA, which controls, these airlines, have got a role in this. They have to keep a, tight check. And the airline management itself, should see that their maintenance department, works properly.
Seeing the latest news of SpiceJet, people are really scared to, getting into SpiceJet. Air India, yes, people are a bit comfortable, but yes, SpiceJet, they are a bit scared.
Well, yes, the DGCA has now, in fact, come down very heavily as far as engineers are concerned, and saying that several of these incidents are related to engineering that have been reported in recent days, and that's why they've made it extremely strict as far as engineers are concerned. In fact, they will have to have more strict norms in terms of how the aircraft is inspected as far as the various categorizations of AMEs are concerned, and also in terms of how there needs to be a very basic minimum level of tools as well as engineers at all aerodromes as far as release of aircraft in particular are concerned. The DGCA has also found several lacunae amongst the existing manner in which aircraft are released as well as the engineering standards are maintained, and therefore has brought about these fresh norms which will ensure that there are stricter engineering parameters that are put in place as far as the release of aircraft are concerned, so that there is no issue with the aircraft that are ultimately going to go into the air. Very important meeting indeed, and a meeting which in fact is in quick succession after the meeting of the DGCA as well as Ministry of Civil Aviation officials. Now another meeting at the highest level as far as airlines are concerned, just going to show the concern that's being expressed at the level of the ministry when it comes to this series of incidents. Now we've seen several explanations come in that several of these are owing to the inclement weather because of the onset of monsoon. We've seen in fact increased activity of birds around various aerodromes and so on and so forth. But yes, there are several issues pertaining to maintenance, pertaining to safety as well that have been flagged off, and that is why in fact it is very, very important to see the manner in which the ministry is actually taking note of all of these incidents and has called for this meeting as far as various airlines are concerned. So all eyes on really what happens as far as the kind of incidents that are being reported on the past several days concerned.
Meanwhile, the Delhi High Court today dismissed a plea seeking to ground all SpiceJet flights. The petition comes after a number of incidents of technical malfunctions were reported on board SpiceJet flights. The High Court said that DGCA is a competent authority to look into such issues and take any actions and decisions it feels are appropriate. The court said that DGCA is very much working and there is no reason to grant relief sought by the petitioner. Right, breaking inputs coming in. The government has formed a committee on MSP. Former Agriculture Secretary Sanjay Agarwal is going to chair this committee on MSP, crop diversification and natural farming. It's also believed that 3 representatives from Samyukt Kisan Morcha will also be a part of this committee. All right, moving on. This is our story number 3. After Kerala reported its second monkeypox case in a 31-year-old Dubai returnee, the centre has reviewed points of entry health actions at international airports and ports. Simply put, the government is stepping up vigil as far as the monkeypox cases are concerned. Now, all those returnees, international returnees, will be screened at the international airport and ports as well. State airport and port health officers have been advised to ensure a strict screening of all international travellers. Now, Centre has also asked for effective coordination between state administration, immigration, airport and health officials. All right, for more on this, I'm joined by Vivek on the broadcast. This is the big update that we are getting for you in the wake of the second monkeypox case that has been reported from Kerala again. The centre has stepped up vigil, strict screening of all international passengers, returnees has been ordered at international airports and ports. All right, moving on, India and China have issued a joint statement after the 16th Corps Commander level talks. We'll get to that in a bit. Story number 4 is the storm over suicide of a 12th class student in Tamil Nadu. This is the big update that we are getting for you. Now, remember, there was a lot of tension in Tamil Nadu after a girl allegedly ended her life, died by suicide, following which there was tension, and the visuals on your screens are of that violence that was triggered following the suicide. The Chief Minister has asked for peace, and this is what we are getting for you. The incident took place at China on July 12th night. The 17-year-old girl left behind a note alleging that she was in undue pressure and was tortured by her teachers. The situation in area continues to remain tense as Section 144 has been imposed in the area. Now, earlier today, the police had produced all the accused before the Kalakuruchi court for rioting in private school. The accused have been sent to judicial custody till August 1st. A total of 278 people, including 22 minors, have been arrested by the police. Meanwhile, the family suspects foul play and alleges that there are injury marks all over the girl's body.
இருந்தாங்க நாங்க ஓடுறோம் எங்க எந்த இடத்துல இருந்து எங்க பாப்பா விழுந்தா காமிங்க நாங்க பார்க்கணும்னு சொல்லக்குள்ள அவங்க வந்து ஒரு பிளேஸ காமிச்சாங்க 3வது மாடியில இருந்து விழுந்துட்டு அப்படின்னு அந்த மாடியா இல்லங்க அதுல வந்து 2 இது கட்டில் கடந்தது அத பாப்பாவா தனிப்பட்ட முறையில ஈத்துட்டு வந்து அதுல நின்னு ஏறி பாப்பாவால ஒரு ஆள் அந்த கட்டில உள்ள இருந்து நவுத்திட்டு வந்திருக்கவே முடியாதுங்க அப்புறம் விழுந்ததுமே பாத்தீங்கன்னாக்க இப்படி அப்படியே இந்த டிஸ்டன்ஸ் தள்ளியே விழலங்க விழறவங்க குதிக்கிறவங்க அப்படியே ஒரு இது சமநிலையில வீழற மாதிரியே வீழ்ந்தாங்க அப்படி வீழ்ந்தவங்களையே கூடங்க நான் போயிட்டு பாப்பாவை ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பார்க்கக்குள்ள ஸ்ட்ரக்சரில இவ்வளோ ரத்தம் இருந்ததுங்க ஆனா பாப்பா இந்த இடத்த தான் வீந்தான்னு சொல்ல இடத்துல ஒரு சொட்டு ரத்தம் இல்லைங்க
மன வருத்தம் ஏற்படுத்தும் வகையில் கள்ளக்குறிச்சியில் நடந்த சம்பவங்கள் அமைந்துள்ளன. கல்வி நிலையங்கள் ஒவ்வொரு பிள்ளைகளையும் தங்களது சொந்த பிள்ளைகளாக நினைத்து அவர்களை பயிற்றுவிக்க வேண்டும். மாறாக நடக்கும் எந்த செயல்களாக இருந்தாலும் அவர்கள் சட்டத்தின் முன் நிறுத்தப்பட்டு தண்டிக்கப்படுவார்கள் என எச்சரிக்கிறேன். இந்த சோகமான சூழலை பயன்படுத்தி கொண்டு சிலர் சேர்ந்து சட்டவிரோதமாக நடந்து கொண்டுள்ளார்கள். வன்முறைகள் என்பது வளர்ச்சிக்கு எதிரானவை என்பதை அவர்கள் உணர வேண்டும். அமைதியான தமிழகம்தான் அனைவருக்குமான தமிழகமாக அமையும் என்பதை அனைவரும் உணர வேண்டும். நம்முடைய வளர்ச்சிக்கு மிக முக்கியமான காரணம் நமக்கு இருக்கும் மொழி பற்றும் இன உணர்வும்.
All right, for more on this, I'm joined by Shri Prapanch on the broadcast. Shri Prapanch, what is the latest? We believe that security has been heightened in and around the school. We believe today a lot of private schools were shut. Are they expected to be closed tomorrow as well? And what is the latest as far as the situation is concerned?
Now the security deployment remains the same. Nearly 2,500 police personnel have been deployed, and Section 144, the prohibitory orders, also remains. It is there till 31st of this month, and also we need to understand that tomorrow, as per the court orders, the re-postmortem of the girl's body would be done. The parents had requested for a re-postmortem. They also wanted a CBCID inquiry. Yesterday, DGP had ordered, transferred the case to CBCID, and subsequently in the morning we could see that the court had ordered, in fact, re-postmortem. They had, in fact, formed a special team. They had announced a special team for which, and it was also said that the postmortem will be videographed. So now this process will take place tomorrow, and this is expected. And however, the police deployments remains the same. The day was comparatively, in fact, calm when compared to yesterday. It was a lot calmer because there was a heavy police deployment. Meanwhile, we even spoke to the school education minister about the whole incident, and he also explained that in fact all works are being done to ascertain who were involved in the clashes, violent clashes that took place yesterday, and all will be in fact booked. And today we can see that 278 persons have been arrested who were involved in the violent activities yesterday, and nearly 128 persons were in fact brought to the Kallakurichi court, out of which 108 were sent to judicial remand. So now we can see the developments taking place. Furthermore, arrests will be done tomorrow based on the visuals that have been accessed by the police about the whole incident. And specifically, we also understand the police postmortem, re-postmortem will be conducted tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Prapanch, for those updates. Meanwhile, the Madras High Court ordered that in future, whenever deaths take place in educational institutions, the investigation must be done by CBCID and the postmortem should be conducted by a team of 3 doctors. The court also directed the police to take severe action against those who undertake parallel trial on social media. This after the parents of class 12 girl moved the Madras High Court demanding a fair investigation in the incident. The parents sought a postmortem and have refused to cremate the body. The police have arrested school's principal and 2 other officials.
இருந்தாங்க நாங்க ஓடுறோம் எந்த இடத்துல இருந்து எங்க பாப்பா விழுந்தா காமிங்க நாங்க பார்க்கணும்னு சொல்லக்குள்ள அவங்க வந்து ஒரு பிளேஸ காமிச்சாங்க 3வது மாடியில இருந்து விழுந்துட்டு அப்படின்னு அந்த மாடியா இல்லங்க அதுல வந்து 2 இது கட்டில் கடந்தது அத பாப்பாவா தனிப்பட்ட முறையில வந்து அதுல நின்னு ஏறி பாப்பாவால ஒரு ஆள் அந்த கட்டில உள்ள இருந்து நவுத்திட்டு வந்திருக்கவே முடியாதுங்க. அப்புறம் விழுந்ததுமே பாத்தீங்கன்னாக்க இப்படி அப்படியே இந்த டிஸ்டன்ஸ் தள்ளியே விழலங்க. விழறவங்க குதிக்கிறவங்க அப்படியே ஒரு இது சமநிலையில விழற மாதிரியே வீழ்ந்தாங்க. அப்படி வீழ்ந்தவங்களையே கூடங்க நான் போயிட்டு பாப்பாவை ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பார்க்கக்குள்ள ஸ்ட்ரக்சரில இவ்வளோ.
All right, breaking update coming in. India and China have issued a joint statement after the 16 Corps Commander level talks. No breakthrough is the big headline on disengagement at Hot Springs Demchok Depsang. Both sides, however, agree to maintain security and stability on ground. This is the big update coming in after the 16 Corps Commander level talks between India and China. Both sides agree to maintain security and stability. However, no breakthrough on disengagement. For more on this, I'm joined by Srinjoy on the broadcast. Srinjoy, the big headline is no breakthrough on disengagement. What more can you tell us about the key takeaways of this 16 Corps Commander level talks?
Well, the 3 areas which are still in dispute are as follows. PP 15, which is about 2 years old. The Chinese are virtually on the line of control, line of actual control at that PP15 area. Secondly, the position at Depsang, and thirdly, the position at Demchok. Now, the thing is that, for instance, PP15 is only 2 years old. This happened only 2 years ago. And India has been saying that the Chinese troops should move back away to where they were till exactly this intrusion situation happened. Now the Chinese have come up with different arguments that, okay, we can move back, but you move back from PP16. Now that is something India has said nothing doing to. The other two issues are so-called legacy issues. All these three issues came up during the talks. The legacy issues means in 2018 and 2019, for instance, in Demchok, the Chinese crossed the CNN Nala and put up 2 tents there. Now they are 200 meters inside, but India also put up 2 tents there in retaliation. The point is they should go back to across the Nala. That is the point that India has made. Again, there was no sort of clear clarity on this one. As far as Depsang is concerned, there is clearly a place where the Chinese put 2 vehicles. That stopped India from going to its PP, which is 4 kilometers further down. Now, India did exactly that then, put 2 vehicles. So the Chinese can't go 7 kilometers to what they think is their patrolling area, PP10 and PP11 and so on. Now, Depsang and Demchok are legacy issues because they are from 2018 and 2019. Nevertheless, they have to be sorted out, and they have not got sorted out. PP15 was a more recent one. It's a fairly easy one, and there was expectation that this could get sorted out. But so far, we know PP15 has not got sorted out.
All right. Thank you, Sanjay, for those updates. All right, it's time for a short break. When we return, we'll get you the latest as far as the Madhya Pradesh bus tragedy is concerned. 14 people have lost their lives. We'll also talk about Mohammad Zubair, where the Supreme Court heard his petition and has issued a protective order for Mohammad Zubair. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Right, story number 5. 14 people have been killed after a Maharashtra-bound passenger bus fell into the Narmada River in Madhya Pradesh's Dhar district. Speaking about how the tragedy unfolded, the bus left from MP's Indore city in the morning and was heading to Jalgaon in Maharashtra when it rammed into the railing of a bridge on the national highway, which is situated close to the Dhar border, and then fell into the river. As per officials, the bus was over 10 years old and its fitness certificate was about to expire in the next 10 days. For more on this, I'm joined by Govind on the broadcast. Govind, the absolutely tragic incident that's happened today. We believe that the rescue operation is over and all passengers have been declared dead?
Yeah, absolutely. Loss of even single life is quite sorrowful here. The question of losing 14 lives. In fact, no one is alive in this whole accident, which is quite tragic one. You know that we can say that rescue operation is completed, but search operation is still going on because 2 bodies are still not found, and 12 bodies are already found just after the accident. This was moved from Indore to Pune. In fact, in between that Khalghat area where an old bridge constructed on Narmada River suddenly for overtaking some vehicle, it's being expected and supposed to the reason of accident, and broke the railing of the bridge, and bus fell down into the Narmada River. So this is consequences of what we can understand. We have lost lost 14 lives. Definitely, the specific compensation has been announced by the Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh government respectively, but we understand that no compensation can get back to those lives which have been lost in this accident. This is quite a tragic accident of Madhya Pradesh, and today few other accidents also recorded in many parts of Madhya Pradesh, but this was the biggest and tragic Monday for Madhya Pradesh when we witnessed a kind of tragic accident there in Dhar district where 14 lives lost in this accident.
All right, thank you, Govind, for these updates. Moving on, the Supreme Court today agreed to hear Alt News co-founder Mohammad Zubair's plea on July 20th, who's seeking to quash 5 FIRs lodged against him in various districts of Uttar Pradesh. The Supreme Court also directed that no precipitative action or steps be taken against Zubair in connection with 5 FIRs lodged against him in the state for quote-unquote outraging religious feelings. The top court issued notice to the UP government and posted Zubair's plea for quashing of the 5 FIRs for hearing on Wednesday. The apex court also observed that it seems to be a quote-unquote vicious cycle where the moment Zubair gets bail in one case, there is another FIR against him. Let me tell you, according to the Supreme Court's order, Zubair cannot be arrested by UP police under any of the 5 FIRs filed against him. All right, so this is the latest that we are getting for you. The Supreme Court, they're giving relief to Mohammad Zubair, Alt News co-founder, and also talking about vicious cycle. A vicious cycle where the moment Mohammad Zubair gets bail in one case, there's another FIR against him. According to Supreme Court's order, Zubair cannot be arrested by UP police under any of these 5 FIRs until the next hearing. All right, the latest that we are getting for you on Mohammad Zubair. The Supreme Court today agreed to hear Alt News co-founder Mohammad Zubair's plea on July 20th, who's seeking to quash 5 FIRs lodged against him in various districts of Uttar Pradesh. The Supreme Court also directed that no precipitative steps be taken against Zubair in connection with 5 FIRs lodged against him in the state for outraging religious feelings. All right, this is the story number 7, which is a shocker coming in from Kerala. We're getting some breaking inputs. Let's take a look. All right, this is the latest that we are getting for you from Kerala, where a girl was forced to remove her innerwear by invigilators at an examination center, and it turned into a humiliating experience for young women and girls who appeared for the NEET exam at a private educational institution in Kollam district after they had to remove part of their undergarments to be allowed to write the exam. This is the latest. A girl has complained to police that she was asked to remove her innerwear. The girl alleged that many other students were also forced to do so, even though the dress code set by the National Testing Agency, which conducts the examination for medical schools, does not require the candidates to do so. The girl complained to Kollam police through her guardians. Meanwhile, Kerala Higher Education Minister R. Bindu, who earlier called the incident unfortunate and assured probe, has now written to Education Minister, Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. The Kerala Minister has asked the Union Minister to take strong action against National Testing Agency that was trusted to conduct the examination.
Girls, who are about to attended the exams was forced to remove their inner garments forcefully by officials. What steps are going to be taken against them, and has it come to your notice, and what is going to be the next action against the officials?
I consider this as a very unfortunate incident. The officials were employed by NTA, National Testing Agency. We are planning to write letters to the central government and the concerned agency NTA in order to prevent further incidents.
All right, there you heard Kerala's education minister there saying that it's a shocking incident and that a lady invigilator was involved in it and has assured probe in this case. Remember, Kerala's Women Commission has also registered a case after this shocker of news came to light from Kerala's Kollam. And now it is expected whether the Union Education Ministry takes note of this development where girls were forced to remove their innerwear before writing their exam. All right, news coming in. The Enforcement Directorate has summoned former Mumbai top cop Sanjay Pandey tomorrow in the NSE co-location case. Sanjay Pandey will face the Enforcement Directorate in New Delhi tomorrow. The ex-Mumbai commissioner couldn't join the probe earlier and had sought time. Earlier today, ED told the Delhi court while seeking further custody of former Managing Director and CEO Chitra Ramakrishnan said that its investigation shows phone tapping or snooping of NSE employees could be taking place since 1997. All right, for more on this, I am joined by Bhavtosh on the broadcast. Bhavtosh, Sanjay Pandey all set to face the Enforcement Directorate tomorrow.
Yes, according to sources in the Enforcement Directorate, Sanjay Pandey has been summoned again. Last week, he could not join the investigation. But high drama inside the courtroom in Delhi when the Enforcement Directorate told the special court that the phone tapping that was earlier being believed was taking place between 2009 till 2017 actually started way back in 1997. Now, this submission was made by the Special Public Prosecutor of the Enforcement Directorate in presence of the investigating officer after they had in fact questioned 3 persons who had joined the investigation in the custody of Chitra Ramakrishna, and they had made this submission on record. And the court, while giving the further custody of Chitra Ramakrishna for 4 days, did note that according to the Enforcement Directorate, the phone illegal snooping or phone illegal tapping was going on in the National Stock Exchange since 1997. Now, this is in stark contrast to what the CBI had said in its FIR, where they had said that the illegal phone tapping or phone snapping of snooping of NSE employees was going on since 2009 and 2017. But ED has said that their investigation showed that NSE employees' phone were being tapped since 1997.
All right, thank you, Bhavtosh, for these updates. And voting to elect the 15th President of India took place today in a contest between NDA's Draupadi Murmu and joint opposition's candidate Yashwant Sinha. It appears that in all likelihood, Draupadi Murmu has an edge. 4,800 elected MPs and MLAs voted to elect the next president. Counting of votes will take place on July 21st and the next president will take oath on July 25th. In the latest, Mohammad Mukim, a Congress MLA from Odisha, went against the party line and voted for Murmu. Meanwhile, presidential candidate Yashwant Sinha has levelled a game of money allegation. Let's listen.
मैं एक पॉलिटिकल लड़ाई ही नहीं लड़ रहा हूँ. आप सब जानते हैं कि मैं सरकारी एजेंसियों के खिलाफ भी लड़ाई लड़ रहा हूँ. इसमें सरकारी एजेंसियाँ बहुत सक्रिय हो गई हैं और राजनीतिक दलों में तोड़फोड़ करवाने का काम कर रही हैं. लोगों को इस बात के लिए बाध्य कर रही हैं तो उनके पक्ष में वोट डालें और पैसे का भी खेल हो रहा है.
Meanwhile, opposition leaders held another round of meeting to discuss the vice presidential elections. Margaret Alva, nominated by the opposition for the post of vice president, also attended the meeting. Speaking to media after the meeting, she said that she's ready to take on the challenge.
I thank all of them for the trust they have reposed in me. I know it's a difficult battle, but in politics, winning and losing is not the issue. The issue is fighting the battle.
All right, story number 8. In its reply to Parliament, the centre has once again batted for crypto ban. Now, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that the RBI too has advised against using cryptos. The RBI recommended Centre to frame a legislation and is of the view that cryptocurrencies be prohibited. Finance Minister also urged global collaboration to prevent regulatory arbitrage.
This was a written reply in the Lok Sabha to which the Finance Minister has responded surrounding cryptocurrencies. And essentially the question was with regard to the legislation on cryptos and whether there was any timeline and whether the RBI has in fact registered its concerns over cryptos. Now, essentially the reply says that yes, RBI has in fact registered its concerns over crypto, saying that it is of the view that cryptos should be prohibited and that the government should come up with a regulation or a legislation if affecting that. However, Finance Minister does then go on to say that by definition, cryptos are borderless. So there is international collaboration that is needed at this point in time to prevent regulatory arbitrage, and that legislation on this issue can be effective only after that international collaboration. So all in all, it means that there is still no clarity at this point in time, no kind of timeline or clarity as to when and how the crypto regulation, the legislation will be in place.
And as the rupee continues to fall and with the Indian currency hitting yet another record low, Finance Minister has said that global factors like the Russia-Ukraine conflict, soaring crude oil prices have led to the weakening of Indian rupee, also adding that RBI is constantly monitoring the situation.
Now, this comment comes in on a day when the rupee has yet again hit another record low, very close to that 80 mark at this point in time to the dollar. But essentially, a number of reasons being given as to why the rupee has been depreciating like this. Remember, this started when Russia's invasion of Ukraine began. And since then, the rupee has seen multiple record lows. And the other reason, of course, the war led to a spike in commodity prices, a hike in the crude prices, which has all been contributing to the fall in the rupee. However, in this particular response, Finance Minister also says that currencies like the British pound, the yen, the euro have all weakened against the rupee. They've fallen more than the rupee. So effectively, the Indian rupee has strengthened against those currencies. However, that is not true for the US dollar, which has been getting stronger. Also because remember, US, the inflation is extremely high at that there. So of course, the Fed has in fact hiked rates more. So that has made the dollar stronger, and that has resulted in funds also flowing out of India as well. So whole host of reasons as to why the rupee has been falling. However, the reply also says that RBI is monitoring the situation, has already taken steps, and more steps could be taken going forward as well.
Moving on, in a big setback to Uddhav Thackeray camp, sources say that 12 Sena MPs attended an online meeting with Chief Minister Eknath Shinde. Shiv Sena has set this aside as rumour mongering by the BJP. In fact, Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut further added that defectors cannot claim to be Shiv Sena. All right, for more on this, I'm joined by Ketan on the broadcast. Ketan, it seems that trouble continues to mount for Mr. Uddhav Thackeray.
The trouble seems never ending. It was first the Shiv Sena legislature party on the floor of the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly, and now it seems that even Shiv Sena is headed for a split on the floor of Lok Sabha. What we have gathered from the rebel camp, we just gathered some fresh information that we would like to give our viewers, Archana. First is that the rebel camp may meet Chief Minister Eknath Shinde tonight while he is in Delhi and explain their stand to him. The rebel camp, we also gathered from the rebel camp that they had 4 meetings with Uddhav Thackeray where they gave a proposal of mending ties with BJP and going back with the BJP, which the Uddhav camp doesn't seem to have agreed to. And then the third point is that tomorrow the group, the splinter group of 12 to 14 MPs out of 18 MPs may meet Speaker Om Birla to show that they are a different group and on the floor of the House, and they are the real Sena. And the fourth point that we are gathering is that the MPs are still not willing to support Margaret Alva. This is a big breaking development that the rebel group may not support Margaret Alva as the vice presidential candidate. So clearly tomorrow the day still seems packed, and now it's the turn of the MPs or the beyond the legislator party. It's the MPs that may break away from the Shiv Sena.
And Ketan, there are also reports coming in that Mr. Uddhav Thackeray has sacked a few Sena leaders for anti-party activities.
Clearly, so that was one important development that happened today, that the rebel camp announced their national executive, and they announced leaders and deputy leaders, clearly going against the party's procedure, constitution. And the Sena sacked two prominent leader. One was former leader of opposition Ramdas Kadam, and he was a firebrand Sena leader, and another is Anandrav Adsur, former MP from the Pune area. So both leaders were sacked from the main parent party, and immediately the rebel group announced them as their leader of their national executive, to which the rebel party held a press conference. There was a meeting to which the main party held a press conference, and there was a meeting of all these MPs at Sanjay Raut's house in Delhi, where they said that all these activities by the rebel Eknath Shinde camp are illegal, and they are fighting the battle out, and they are fighting the battle in the court of law.
All right. Thank you, Ketan, for those updates. All right. Shifting focus to Tamil Nadu now, we are getting some breaking inputs. And the latest that we are getting is that power bills are all set to go up in Tamil Nadu. Electricity bills to go up by over 26%. Houses that consume up to 200 units will see an increase in their bills by 26.73%. Those consuming up to 300 units will see an increase by 15% and nearly 8% for consumption of up to 400 units. All right, for more on this, I'm joined by Dharani on the broadcast. Dharani, electricity bills are going to go up. And what is the latest? What is the trigger for this development?
This is not definitely a good news for the people of Tamil Nadu. So today around 6 p.m. Electricity Minister Sendil Balaji, he convened a press conference where he announced the hike. As per the recent data that's released by the Tamil Nadu government, so houses that consume up to 200 units of electricity for 2 months, they'll be having a rise of 26.73% each month. Likewise, for 300 units, the rise is going to be 15.3% per month, and for 400 units, it's 7.94%, 500 units, 4.46%, 600 units, 1.32%, 700 units, 0.83%, 800 units, 0.53%, and lastly for 900 units, for 2 months, the hike is going to be 0.35% for 1 month. So these are the latest figures that have been released by Electricity Ministry as far as the hike is concerned. So as I told, this definitely is not going to be good news for the people of Tamil Nadu. In fact, right now itself we could see in the social media platforms that people are pouring out their discomfort over this hike. But the Electricity Minister, he explained during his press conference that the situation is in such a way that there has to be a hike that needed to be brought up. So they told that they'll be trying to reduce the amount as soon as possible, but at this point in time the government is in a situation to bring in an electricity hike. So that's the Electricity Minister told. And in fact right now in Tamil Nadu, any house that consumes like 100 units of electricity, they're having it for free. That's a subsidy. So he told that will be continuing on the other hand.
Right. Thank you, Dharani, for these updates. Moving on, in a suspected case of fratricide, Sikkim police personnel posted in New Delhi shot dead 2 of his colleagues after they allegedly made offensive remarks about his personal life. The incident occurred at a water plant in Haidarpur area of Delhi. The accused Praveen Rai was deployed at the water plant for security as part of the Indian Reserve Battalion. The accused later surrendered to police. The Jawan used his service weapon to kill his colleagues. 2 of his colleagues died on spot while the other was injured. The Jawan is presently being interrogated by Delhi police. All right, shifting focus to story number 9, and this concerns climate change. This concerns extreme heat, and this is described as an impact of global climate change and global warming. United Kingdom's Weather Office has issued a red extreme heat warning for today and tomorrow, with temperatures expected to hit record high of up to 41 degrees Celsius. This is the first time ever when such a warning has been issued. Now, UK recorded its highest temperature in Cambridge in 2019, while experts warn Western France is facing a heat apocalypse. Wildfires have been reported in Spain, Portugal and Greece, forcing thousands more to flee. As Chinese government continues to maintain its hard stance of zero COVID policy, officials in Shanghai are continuing to implement mass testing and extend lockdowns on millions of residents, triggering a public outcry amid new surge. China has reported an average of around 390 local daily infections in the last 7 days. Shanghai's commercial hub and lockdown here has had a devastating impact on locals and businessmen. In fact, many people have called this lockdown inhuman. Moving on, former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has called for early general elections in the country. This after his party, PTI, won the crucial Punjab by-polls. This development is being seen as a major setback to Pakistan's ruling Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, PMLN, as Punjab is considered to be their stronghold province. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf won 15 out of 20 seats, while PMLN won just 4 and 1 seat was claimed by an independent candidate. This development comes at a time when Pakistan is reeling under inflation and a foreign debt crisis. Now, cholera is spreading in Pakistan's Balochistan after floods caused by monsoon rains over the past month polluted the water. Now, officials reveal that 45 people in the province had died due to cholera, and in fact 13 districts in the Balochistan province also saw a rise in diarrhea cases. Authorities are delivering food, tents and other essential items to hundreds of affected people.
45 के करीब टोटल डेथ्स हुई है ओवरऑल जितना ये हुआ है राइट फ्रॉम बिगिनिंग फ्रॉम पीरको टिल ज़ूब और इस टाइम 13 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में डायरिया और डिसेंट्री जिसको हम कहते हैं ये प्रिवेलिंग है। 2 जो है ना वो डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स जहाँ सस्पेक्टेड कॉलरा हम उनको बोलते हैं। वर्ड वाला तो चूँकि उसके टेस्ट की रिपोर्ट भी आ गई लिहाजा वो कंफर्म कॉलरा उधर मौजूद है और ज़ूब वाली की टेस्ट की रिपोर्ट अभी तक नहीं आई, लेकिन सस्पेक्टेड में मोस्ट लाइकली ये कॉलरा है।
دا ایت کې یو دوه کوچنیان نور سره وړو مې یو دوه شپې دورې د درېم شپه د تقریبا 11 بجې د هغې شکایت پیدا شو بیا هغه ځای داسې بې سهولت ځای دی چې هلته یو سهولت هم نشته، نه د ډاکټر سهولت شته نه یو د موټر سهولت شته.
Moving on, anti-government demonstrators in Hungary blocked one of the capital's main highways during morning rush hour, the latest in a series of protests against recent changes to the country's tax code that have carried on for nearly a week. The crowd, made up largely of food delivery couriers on bicycles and scooters, blocked traffic in both directions on one of Budapest's main bridges over the Danube River.
A kérdés! Van-e még ennél is lejjebb? Én nagyon szeretnék ebben az országban élni, de ellehetetlenítenek! Ez a nagy családbarát kormány! Ez! Aki elüldöz mindenkit innen! Mi?
Muszáj hidat lezárni, muszáj tömeggé alakulni, és meg kell mutatni, hogy egységbe tudunk változást elérni, mert itt nagyon sok ember szeretne változást. Itt nagyon sok magyar ember szeretné azt, hogy a családjainak jobb legyen.
And time for our story number 10. After a relationship that spanned over 2 decades, Hollywood superstar Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck are now officially man and wife. The power couple got married at Las Vegas. Jennifer Lopez shared this news on her website saying, and I quote, "Love is beautiful, love is kind, and if love turns out, love is patient. 20 years patient," end of quote. Lopez and Affleck famously dated in the early 2000s. However, their previous engagement was called off due to excessive media attention surrounding their wedding. We are talking about 2003. Now, the marriage license filing showed that Lopez plans to take the name Jennifer Affleck.